Well, it's on me, you guys, so you know what that means. It's time for another installment of Mike's Musings. And I know this might seem strange, but I want to take this time to plug another podcast. It's called the Inverse Delirium. I like to support local stuff. It's based in Baltimore. It's run by a guy. His name's Jeffrey Welchman. Very funny. It's a 15-minute, 20-minute long show. They do sketch comedy. So it's like old-time radio in that way, or old National Lampoon's records, where it's sketch comedy that has connective tissue throughout the course of the 15 minutes, like a theme or a character or a reoccurring thing in the sketches that, like, it all brings it all together. And it's very acerbic, dry wit. I love that. And they've been really good to me. I've been able to play a couple characters and be on shows with folks like Lewis Black, who, if you haven't ever heard Lewis Black recite Edgar Allan Poe at the top of his lungs, you might want to do that. It's a segment called Screaming Poe, and Lewis Black did it, and I was on one of the sketches on that show, so I was really happy about that. But they feature great guests all the time. Here's just a couple lists of them. BeerInBaltimore.com's Brad Klippner, local 106.7 local radio legend Buzz Burbank. I got to be in a sketch with Buzz Burbank. If you don't know what that means, that's fine by me. But in the local D.C. area, he used to be on the Don and Mike show, which, just go back and download the old Don and Mike shows if you're into talk radio. One of the best talk radio shows of all time. Buzz Burbank was like their announcer, but he also participated in the show. He was on, but for the nerds, Dean Hagelin was also a guest on that very same episode, who, if you're like, why do I know that name, but I'm not quite sure, he was Ringo on the X-Files, the guy with the long mullet hair and the glasses. Yeah, it's coming back now, all right? That guy. He was on the show. They have wonderful guests all the time. Anastasia Washington from the Awkward Conversations podcast. Monica Homburg from Dazed and Convicted, who I love working with, by the way. Hi, Monica. I love you so much. Who else do we have on the show here? Former guests also include Mark Hershon of Succotash, the Succotash podcast, which is like a comedy podcast review. If you like podcasts but you want to listen to more and you don't know where to start, Succotash is the place to go. Mark Hershon is the guy to ask. He also writes for Splitsider, so he knows what he's talking about. Who else do we have to feature here? I know I'm forgetting somebody. Mark Riccadonna, Greg Carlwood from the Higher Side Chats, Paula Poundstone. The list goes on, you guys. We're trying to get more people, more reoccurring guests, but I'm officially a member of the show. We call ourselves the Poison Dart Players, and we are the Inverse Delirium. So I really hope that Glenn, who is watching this now, and the mysterious second listener joins us for the show. We do it every 2 weeks, 15 minutes of your time. Very funny stuff, and Jeffrey writes it all, or most of it, and I just am lucky enough to do the voices. Last bit of the segment, I am playing George Bailey for the Christmas episode of this podcast, so I have to work on my Jimmy Stewart voice, which, if you can imagine me doing that, has been a bit of a project, and I'm very excited, and I thank Jeffrey for the opportunity to do that. So look for me to be plugging the hell out of It's a Wonderful Life Inverse Delirium style in the next couple weeks. Very excited. So thanks for the opportunity. This is the end of Mike's Musings.